Peace, Soul Family. Welcome back to Live Beyond Boundaries, a place where we push past our limitations and find our inner strength. I'm your host, Nadira, and I'm thrilled to embark on another enlightening journey with you all. Last time, we dove deep into spiritual resilience, discipline, affirmations, and manifestation. We discussed the transformative power these elements can have on our lives when properly intertwined. We also opened the door to your experiences and inquiries. We received a remarkable question from one of our listeners about the paralyzing fear they encounter while learning to trust their intuitive instincts. In our quest to answer that question and dive deeper into overcoming internal barriers, I've opened the door to a profound topic that is often shrouded in mystery and sometimes even fear: the shadow self. Understanding our shadow self, that part of us that houses our suppressed emotions, desires, and fears. It is crucial to our spiritual journey. This understanding allows us to truly acknowledge all parts of ourselves, bringing the hidden into the light, thus helping us to heal and grow. It enables us to transform self-destructive habits, improve our relationships, and align more fully with our true essence. As we do this work, we become more self-aware, more compassionate, and more empowered. We can also learn to accept and love all parts of ourselves, even the parts we don't like. So ultimately, this provides us with a sense of inner peace and contentment. Today, as we venture into the shadows, guided by awareness and acceptance, we'll shed light on the dark but vital aspect of ourselves, illuminating a path to a deeper, more authentic sense of spiritual growth. As we open ourselves to the shadows, we open our hearts to more self-love and understanding. We learn to embrace all aspects of ourselves, allowing us to grow into more complete and compassionate humans. Let's start by grounding ourselves in understanding. To define the shadow self, we turn to the man who first illuminated this concept for us in the first place, the eminent psychoanalyst and psychiatrist Carl Jung. Jung's theory suggests that our psyche, our total personality, is composed of various components, including the shadow self. This shadow, as Jung explains, is the hidden, unconscious aspect of our personality. It's the part of ourselves that we tend to disown, reject, or simply just aren't aware of. The elements we prefer not to recognize because they make us uncomfortable, or they don't align with the image that we have of our quote-unquote ideal selves. The shadow self can cause us to act in ways that are not in line with our values, or that may actually harm ourselves or others. To heal and grow, we must look inward and seek to understand and integrate these parts of ourselves. A common misconception associated with the shadow self is that it's purely negative or evil, and that's not quite right. While the shadow can certainly house these traits we consider negative, such as anger, jealousy, greed, just to name a small few, it can also hold parts of us that are positive yet suppressed. This could be unfulfilled potentials, talents, or traits undervalued or dismissed in our upbringing. We must learn to accept our shadow self and recognize it as part of our identity. Only then can we use it to our advantage, instead of repressing it and allowing it to manifest through destructive behavior. See, it's only by embracing both the light and the dark parts of our personality that we can become truly whole, if there was to ever be a thing. Everybody has a shadow self. And more often than not, it's unconscious. It's like an undercurrent, influencing our behaviors, reactions, and decisions without our direct awareness. This lack of awareness is why we often project our shadow selves onto others. For example, if we hold deep anger within our shadow, we might identify anger in others while denying its existence within ourselves. And I know you see it all the time. Shadow work is the process of acknowledging, understanding, and integrating our shadow into our daily lives, allowing us to understand our motivations and heal our hidden wounds. It's an essential part of self-growth and can help us cultivate self-awareness. Remember Natalie Portman's character, Nina? She is a perfect example of someone with a repressed shadow self. She suppresses her darker, more spontaneous and sensual side to meet her domineering mother's expectations and her rigid role as a ballet dancer. This causes her to lose touch with her true self and spiral into insanity. This shadow self can be seen as a metaphor for the unconscious mind and its power to influence us. It shows the importance of understanding and accepting our true selves and the consequences of repressing them. But as the film progresses, we witness the catastrophic effects of suppressing the shadow self for too long, and the consequences are dire. The shadow eventually takes over and leads to her undoing. The lesson here is we must learn to embrace our shadow self and accept them as an integral part of ourselves, or else we risk losing ourselves completely. We must find the way to balance between the conscious and unconscious parts of ourselves. Only then can we be fully ourselves and lead fulfilling lives. If we learn to do this, then our shadows can become our allies and help us reach our fullest potential. And then they're not really our shadows anymore. They're just parts of us. It's just part of who we are. My boys are currently watching Breaking Bad. They're following Walter White, a mild-mannered chemistry teacher turned ruthless drug dealer, release elements of his shadow self and the destructive consequences that follow. His transformation is a cautionary tale, demonstrating how unchecked ambition can lead to disaster and how our unconscious desires can have unforeseen and deadly consequences. His story serves as a reminder to be mindful of the power of the shadow self and of the need to find a healthy balance between ambition and morality. In the end, Walter's transformation serves as a warning of the power of the shadow self and the danger of repressing our own dark desires. His story shows us that unchecked ambition and unchecked power can have dire consequences, and that it is important to stay in control of our impulses and desires. This is an example of how the shadow self, when repressed, can be released with fatal consequences. It highlights how if we do not embrace the darkness within us, it can manifest in destructive ways. It is a warning to accept and embrace all aspects of self. These examples from film and television show how aspects of our shadow self can manifest in our thoughts and actions. This is especially true if they are not acknowledged or integrated appropriately. Ignoring the shadow self can lead to negative behaviors such as self-sabotage and even lead to mental health issues. Learning to acknowledge and accept our shadow self is an important step in developing psychological well-being. When understanding the shadow self, it's about acknowledging the entirety of who we are, the light and the dark, the conscious and the unconscious. Only when we truly see ourselves can we begin the journey of integration and transformation. We can start to heal the parts of ourselves that have been neglected or denied and embrace our deeper self. This process will foster greater self-acceptance and ultimately lead to a more fulfilling life. Let's learn to identify the shadow self within ourselves now that we've laid the foundation for what it is. Everyone has a shadow self, and it can significantly influence our behavior, often in ways we might not immediately recognize. Signs that your shadow self might be at play includes strong emotional reactions, self-sabotage patterns, and projection of your disowned traits onto others. These signs often stem from unhealed traumas and past experiences, usually traced back to our childhood. To heal our shadow self, it is important to identify and acknowledge the traumas and experiences that are driving our behavior, as well as to practice self-compassion and forgiveness. Ultimately, this can help us to become more self-aware and to take better control of our lives. Childhood traumas, such as abandonment of one or both parents, which I suffer from greatly. Overly critical caregivers, which I have also dealt with. I feel like if you grew up in a Christian Black home, then you've experienced a lot of these things. So not only abandonment of one or both parents and overly critical caregivers, but also feeling rejected in community settings. These can significantly shape our shadow self. Experiences of physical, sexual, or verbal abuse can also lead to a heavy, dense shadow that impacts us in adulthood. These can manifest as acute trauma, which is a response to a single distressing event, chronic trauma, which is repeated and prolonged, such as domestic violence or abuse, and complex trauma, which is exposure to varied and multiple traumatic events, often of an invasive interpersonal nature. This trauma can become embedded in the mind and body, leading to difficulties regulating emotions, feeling connected to the self and others, and managing intense sensations. As a result, an individual may struggle with anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. These traumas and experiences often lead to feelings of shame, fear, and a sense of not being good enough, which we tuck away into our shadow self. This can lead to self-destructive behavior and lack of self-worth. It is important for individuals to learn to recognize, accept, and process these traumas in order to gain insight into their own feelings and experiences. With proper support, individuals can begin to heal and move forward in their lives. As individuals heal from the traumas of their past, they can begin to reclaim their self-worth and value. They can work on building a healthier, more compassionate relationship with themselves and with others. This process can lead to a greater sense of joy and fulfillment in life. Identifying your own shadow self is a journey of introspection, observation, and reflection. It's about looking honestly at your behaviors, reactions, and patterns. What triggers strong emotion reactions in you? What self-sabotage pattern do you notice? In what ways might you project your disowned traits onto others? It's also important to remember that the shadow self is an integral part of who we are. Embracing it and learning to accept and understand it can provide us with a greater insight into ourselves and lead to personal growth, which is always the goal here at Live Beyond Boundaries. It can also help us develop greater empathy and understanding for ourselves and for others. We can use this knowledge to create meaningful connections and foster healthier relationships. Ultimately, learning to accept and embrace our shadow self can lead to a more fulfilling life. And basically, it's more fulfilling because you accept yourself. You understand yourself better. It's about changing your perspective. There are various practical activities you can do to explore your shadow. Journaling, for instance, can be a powerful tool for self-reflection. You could write about a strong emotional reaction you had recently. digging deeper into what triggered it and why it affected you so much. Meditation exercises such as chakra healing and mindfulness practices can also benefit this self-exploration. Reiki and crystal healing offer energy balancing that can bring to the surface suppressed emotions and experiences. By understanding and accepting these emotions, we can gain a clearer understanding of ourselves and our needs. And this can help to create a healthier and more balanced life. And for those more advanced in the spiritual journeys, mirror work and root work can be particularly revealing. Mirror work involves facing yourself in the mirror and truly looking at what you see, both physically and metaphorically. Root work, on the other hand, involves ancestral healing and digging deep into past traumas and inherited patterns. Both of these practices can help individuals gain self-awareness and self-acceptance, as well as strengthen their connection to their ancestry and culture. The goal of mirror work and root work is to understand and accept oneself and to create a strong bond with the self, others, and the world. And of course, don't underestimate professional help in the shadow work. Therapists, counselors, and other mental health professionals can provide the guidance and the safe space needed to navigate this complexity. They can help you interpret your findings, provide you with tools to handle intense emotions, and offer insights that deepen your understanding of yourself. Additionally, professionals can help you create and implement a plan for managing and integrating the insights you've gained. They can also offer resources and support to help you stay on track. Lastly, they can provide the accountability you need to create a lasting change. It's not just about spilling your guts on the couch. There's a plan to it. Check it out. As you identify your shadow self, remember to approach it with compassion and patience. It's not about demonizing or rejecting parts of yourself, but about understanding, accepting, and eventually integrating all aspects of who you are. This process of self-exploration can be difficult and uncomfortable, but ultimately helps to bring balance and clarity into your life. With practice and dedication, you can uncover the hidden parts of yourself and learn to embrace them and use them to your advantage. By doing this, you can gain an awareness of yourself and your inner workings, allowing you to use them to your benefit and create a more authentic life. Facing our shadow self brings out fears we might not know we have. The fear of the unknown, the fear of confronting aspects of ourselves we've long denied or suppressed. In addition, the fear of what this exploration could mean for our self-image. The journey into the shadow self is like venturing into a dark forest. The trees are thick, path is unclear, and we're not sure what creatures might lurk in the shadows. But remember, you are not the first to travel this path, nor will you be the last. And every step you take, every fear you face, lights a torch for those after you. So how do we manage these fears and discomforts? I think first it's crucial to set exploration boundaries. You don't have to reveal everything at once. Take it at your pace. It's okay to step back if it becomes too overwhelming. Secondly, seek support, whether it's from a trusted friend, a spiritual guide, or a mental health professional. Having someone to share this journey with can provide you comfort, perspective, and guidance. Use grounding techniques. They help you to stay present and avoid becoming overwhelmed by the strong emotions or memories that will come up. This could be as simple as focusing on your breath, feeling the ground under your feet, or tuning into the sounds around you. And also rely on your intuition. Trust yourself and your ability to navigate this journey. You have more strength and wisdom than you might think. Breathwork and physical exercise can also be extremely beneficial during this process. They provide an outlet for releasing tension, stress, and suppressed emotions. Prayer is a big one for me, or connecting with a higher power. It can offer guidance and a sense of not being alone on this journey. Facing your fears is perhaps the most challenging, but also the most liberating part of shadow work. It's like standing up to the bully in the playground. Fear might not disappear completely, but standing up to it diminishes the power it has over you. This is a process. There's no set timeline for shadow work, and it's okay to take as long as you need. Self-compassion and patience are critical on this journey. Healing isn't linear, and it's normal to have ups and downs. I like to think of healing as being a circular pattern. As we navigate the deep and often murky waters of our shadow self, it's imperative to remember that these darker aspects are not our enemies. They are a part of us, and they carry profound lessons and growth potential. This internal exploration is not about fighting or defeating these aspects, but about understanding, accepting, and eventually integrating them into your conscious selves. You open the door to a greater sense of self-awareness, self-acceptance, and of course, personal growth, because that's why we're here. The journey might be dark and treacherous at times, but remember, every journey begins with a single step. And with each step you take, you're lighting up the path, not just for yourself, but for others as well. So take courage and be brave. You are not alone, and every step you take brings you closer to your destination. So believe in yourself and keep going. So let's start talking about integrating the shadow self. As we dive further into the exploration of the shadow self, we eventually reach a phase that might seem daunting, but in truth, it's actually liberating and empowering. And that's integrating. Imagine a moment in a movie where the hero finally makes peace with his flaws, acknowledges his mistakes, and emerges stronger, wiser. A classic example is Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, confronting his fear that he will turn to the dark side like his father. This confrontation and subsequent acceptance of his potential for both good and evil is a perfect example of integrating the shadow self. Maybe consider Friends, where the character Chandler often masks his insecurities and fears with humor. Over the seasons, we see Chandler gradually accepting and working on these insecurities, eventually becoming more authentic and secure in his relationships. This narrative serves as an example to viewers that it is possible to accept and work on our own insecurities. It's also reinforcing the idea that authenticity and vulnerability are necessary for healthy relationships and personal growth. So to integrate the shadow self, it means to bring it from the darkness of unconsciousness into the light of awareness. Like real simple. It's the culmination of acknowledging these parts of ourselves, understanding them, accepting them, and eventually transforming them in a way that serves our growths and our desires. They become a strategic part of ourselves that we can tap into with purpose. It's a process of reconciliation, so to speak, that fosters wholeness. This helps us to have a better understanding of ourselves and our relationships with others. It also helps us to create higher boundaries, respect other people and ourselves, and to be more authentic in our daily lives. So one way to start integrating your shadow self is through understanding. Ask yourself why you might have rejected or suppressed these aspects. Try to understand their origins. A journaling exercise where you write a letter to your shadow self can be incredibly revealing and therapeutic. Acknowledge your shadow self and thank it for its presence in your life. Just like your inner child, which we will get into in shortly, as in a few episodes coming up. Reconnecting with your shadow self can open you up to new possibilities and help you grow. We're always going to come back to the growth process. So show yourself kindness and compassion as you integrate your shadow self into your life. Next is acceptance. So once you have understanding, you want to accept it. It's about embracing the totality of who you are, both light and shadow. An effective exercise for this is mirror work, where you look at yourself in the mirror, acknowledge these shadow aspects, and express acceptance of them. This acceptance allows us to move forward and explore new possibilities, and to create more harmony and balance within ourselves. This process of accepting can help us find peace and joy in our lives and become more resilient to life's challenges. The transformation and expression of the shadow self comes next. Ask yourself how these shadow aspects might be transformed into strengths. How can they serve your growth? One powerful exercise is to reframe negative self-talk. Whenever you catch yourself thinking negatively about these aspects, try to find a positive spin or a lesson they've taught you. This exercise can help you to accept and even appreciate your shadow self. It can also help you to cultivate a sense of self-compassion, understanding, and acceptance. Finally, it can also help you to create a healthier relationship with yourself and your inner world. Sarah grew up feeling like she was never good enough. No matter how hard she tried, she always felt like she fell short of expectations. She constantly compared herself to others, trying to measure up to their success. She was never able to shake the feeling of inadequacy, no matter what she achieved. As a result, she suffered from depression and low self-esteem. These feelings, deeply rooted in her shadow, manifested in her adult life as perfectionism and workaholism, leading to burnout. Through shadow work, Sarah has the opportunity to trace these feelings back to their origins and understand their impact in her life. She's able to gain insight into her patterns of behavior and gain clarity on how to move forward. She worked on releasing these feelings of inadequacy, allowing her to accept herself and to move forward with renewed confidence. Sarah gradually learned to accept that her worth was not defined by her achievements. She transformed her perfectionism into drive for excellence, not at the expense of her well-being, but in harmony with it. This shift had a profound positive impact on her life. She felt liberated and energized, able to focus her efforts on what really, truly mattered to her without sacrificing her health and happiness. Sarah realized that taking care of herself was an important part of achieving her goals. She embraced her newfound perspective and continued to grow and evolved. Because let me tell you, it takes so much energy from you. If you're too busy being pessimistic, if you're too busy nitpicking with yourself, that's draining. That takes so much energy. And it takes you away from being able to focus on things that you do want to accomplish, goals that you want to reach. places you want to go, people that you want to meet and vibe with and hang out with. So I said all that because the integration process might seem overwhelming and challenging, but it's so worth it. Every step you take towards understanding, accepting, and transforming your shadow self is a step towards wholeness, self-love, and personal growth. It's not only by facing your shadow self that we can find true healing. It's only by facing our shadow self that we can find true healing. The integration process is difficult, but the rewards are so worth it. With dedication and courage, you can unlock your full potential and create a life of peace, of joy, of happiness, of compassion, of free will. You're not trapped by your own thoughts. Be patient with yourself. It's not a race, it's a journey. And like all journeys, it's not just the destination, but the actual journey itself that counts. So keep pushing on, keep exploring. You are not alone on this journey. With time and patience, you can learn to accept yourself and develop a more meaningful connection with yourself and the world around you. You'll gain clarity and insight into your life and your relationships. Ultimately, it allows for greater self-love, healing, and growth. Let's take a moment to reflect on the key takeaways from today's episode. We discussed the shadow self, a concept born from Carl Jung's theory, comprising of our repressed desires, rejected characteristics, and unfulfilled potentials. We learned how to identify elements of our own shadow self through introspection, observation, and reflection. We talked about the common fears and challenges individuals face when starting to explore their shadow self, and offer strategies for managing fear and discomfort during this process. We discussed the vital importance of self-compassion and patience during shadow work. We also explored the transformative journey of integrating the shadow self, highlighting how understanding, acceptance, transformation, and expression can lead to profound growth potential. Approaching shadow work can feel intimidating, but remember, this journey is about curiosity and compassion. It's about diving deeper into understanding ourselves, accepting ourselves, and empowering ourselves to transform and grow. So be patient. I cannot say it enough. Be patient with yourself and treat this journey with the same care and kindness that you would extend to your dear friend or loved one. Reflect on the insights you've gained, the challenges you've faced, and the changes you've made. Celebrate even the small victories and be proud of yourself for taking the steps towards a more fulfilling life. You are capable of so much more than you realize. And I also want to just throw in here that this journey is about yourself. So you need to make yourself the priority here. And I'm not saying go out here and neglect your kids or your elderly parents or whatever your responsibilities are. But it is important for you to prioritize your day where you take care of yourself first. That is the commitment that you have to be willing to take. And I really don't even know why I'm saying this because it's not part of my notes. But whoever is listening to this is for you. If this hits you in your heart, if you feel your chakras jumping, any one of them, this is for you. You need to prioritize yourself first. Okay, honey? Little Juju will be okay. Little man will be all right. Princess, she will make it, okay? But mom, dad, auntie, grandma, caregiver, whoever you are, you need to prioritize yourself first. So moving on, I'm looking forward to exploring the vibrant world of energy and chakra systems in our next episode. Just as understanding the shadow self contributes to our holistic growth, aligning and balancing our energy centers or chakras plays a vital role in that journey too. How does our energy influence our lives, our health, our relationships, our growth? How do chakras tie into this? How can we balance and harness them for holistic well-being? So join us as we continue our exploration of the unseen forces that shape us. As always, I invite you to share your experiences, ask questions, or share your thoughts related to the shadow self or the upcoming topic. Your voice is an important part of this community, and your questions inspire and inform our conversations. Before we sign off, here's your affirmation for the week. I am brave enough to explore all parts of myself. I accept, understand, and love myself wholly. I am continuously evolving. Thank you, dear listeners, for joining us on this deep and enlightening journey today. May you carry these insights into your lives and continue to live beyond boundaries. Until next time, take care and keep shining. You've been listening to Live Beyond Boundaries. Stay connected with us and continue the conversation on our social channels. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with someone you think might need it. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the boundless potential of our spiritual selves. Keep growing, keep exploring, and keep living beyond boundaries.